All right, hey guys, back on the Baja 70 dirt bike. This is basically a Chinese 70cc dirt bike, pit bike, whatever you want to call it. This is a DR70. So I picked this bike up for really cheap. Once I got it, I realized one of the valves, I think it was the exhaust stroke, had bent and was stuck open. So instead of replacing the valve, for what it costs, I think it's like 20 bucks or something like that for valves. By the time you do all the work, get it all put together, it just made sense to buy a complete new top end. So that's what I ended up doing. Instead of just going back with the standard 72 cc's, I think is what this, I don't know if you guys can see that over there, but yeah, 72 cc's, I believe what this head or what this cylinder is. Ended up going online and purchasing 90cc kit. So I'm gonna open these up here and show you guys what I got. Okay, so again, these are 90cc. Bought these off of eBay. Yeah, this is a JH90. I'll attach the link to these parts, but yeah, it took forever to get here. So I think I ordered these before or around Thanksgiving, and they showed up like a day or two ago. So basically, it's got brand new head, all put together. It's got valves, rockers, all that stuff, gaskets, all come with it. It looks like I'm gonna have to use the original bolts. But other than original bolts, everything else seems to be here. So I'll have to pull that side plate off, and I'm sure looks like nothing's put together. You can see here this isn't even not even on straight. So sure, I'll have to unbolt all this. Yeah, your valve adjustment covers, they're not tight either. So I'm sure I'll have to do all that before I put it together, but we'll see. But overall, the head doesn't look too bad. It's got sprocket and everything in there for your timing. So I'll have to set all that once I start putting it together. But anyway, there's the head. Again, doesn't look like it comes with any bolts, just gaskets. So yeah, I'll have to figure out what some of these gaskets are for, because I would assume that the valve seats, all that crap's already in it. I'm sure there's one for here, maybe exhaust, and your intake gaskets, but yeah, we'll see. See what all I've got here when I start putting this together, but overall, doesn't look too bad. Put that back in the box. And off to cylinder. Again, cylinder comes with your base gasket, your top gasket, and should have connecting rod. Yep, connecting rod as well. Try to open this up without dropping the piston out of it. There's your piston rings. So I will have to pull the piston out. I'm assuming the rings are not in it. Nope. So there's your little piston. And again, this is supposed to be, so this one's 86 cc's versus the one that's on the bike currently is 72. So a little bigger. I don't know how well you guys can see that. I'll set the piston up there. Yeah, not a whole lot of difference in cylinder size. So very, very close to the same size. But anyway, I'm gonna pull all this off. We'll put this together and see what she does. Cut back in just a second when I start pulling the cylinder off. So I'm gonna pull a couple of these bolts out here on either side of this skid plate that bolts into the cylinder here on the bottom. same. So I think this whole skid plate, it looks like it's probably gonna fall off here. Skid plate's off, I'll clean that up. There is a spacer on the one side, nothing on the other side, so slide that out of the way. Again, I'll clean that up in a minute. So basically what I'm going to do now, there's another 10 mil here on the side. It's also a Phillips. Pull that off. At that point, the cylinder should come straight out. Let's see what it does here. Make sure I don't miss anything. So again, the cylinder now should be free. Should come straight out. I don't think I'm missing any. Okay. Basically just using this to kind of break up the gasket there. There we go. So, I'll go ahead and pull it. Top sprocket off the chain here. Yeah, actually. I think this is the timing guidance on. All right, I got a 10 millimeter here. Again, this is just your, basically your chain tensioner here. So, what I was taking off is that tensioner. It goes there in the middle. Again, we'll pull this cylinder all the way off. And let the chain just hang out there. Okay, so I'm gonna pull this little piston off. There's some locking rings here on the sides. I'll keep those broke loose here. But again, there's nothing wrong with this cylinder. It's more, in fact, just if I'm going to do it, I might as well go big. So right in here is your locking ring. So basically just take a pick, get it behind that, and force it up and out. That's the end of it there, so. These little things. So let her up. And I don't know if anybody heard that, but yeah, it shot out. So now I'm gonna take the piston. Oh, well, I'll have to go find that ring. I think it's over by the wall, but then you can come on up to the other side and push your connecting rod out. Give me that pick, bud. So, take a little screwdriver here. Hold on a second. Press that out the rest of the way. So, basically, push it on out. You guys can see that coming up the other side there. Shove it all the way out. Pull the piston off, and then we'll be ready to put rings and properly gap, all that stuff. But not too bad to pull apart. So I'll cut back here in just a second when I'm gonna clean this up a little bit, get my gasket on here, clean all that off, and then I'll cut back here when I start putting my piston together, putting the rings on. Got all this cleaned up. Go ahead and slip the gasket on. So we'll slide it down through there. Pull the timing chain through it. And slip it into place here. Over those little stones down there. Okay. So there we go. Got the base gasket in place. The next thing I'm going to do, so here's the original piston. I don't know if you guys can see. Not a whole lot of difference in size there. You're just a fraction. So not a ton of difference in the size of the piston at all. But again, this is like I said, a 72. This is an 86. So that's in what, cubic centimeters. So not a lot of size difference there. So, but anyway, basically what I'm going to do now is put the rings on. So you basically, without showing it, you want to make sure you offset these gaps. I like to set them about 1/4 of the piston. So if you set your middle one over here, the other one's on the back, and then your oiler ring is somewhere, so that way they're not all in line. The biggest thing, just make sure they're not in line, so you're not got a space there. So go ahead and open up these piston rings here. Again, I'm gonna kind of set them out here. So you got your different sets here. Sets of rings. So we'll sets there. So basically, trying to see if there's a different in the top rings. They look the same on that piston, so I'm not too worried about it. So pretty much you got these little bitty thin ones here. They're gonna go with your bottom ring here. So again, you're just spacing that out. So I'm gonna start by installing this first ring and basically just working it into its groove, like so, and working its way around and getting it into place. So it's on, see it there. Now go on to the next one. Do kind of the same thing. Basically work it around here and down into place. Again, you want to keep your keep your lines separated. Sorry, this is not wanting to cooperate real well. There we go. And just drop them into the groove. Like so. There we go. So that one's in. Now you go on to your next little thin one, and you're going to do the same thing. So pretty simple. Like I said, the biggest thing is just making sure you don't keep your grooves in the same line, if that makes sense. Pressing that one down into place, and there we go. So there, our bottom ring is all in place. Feels good. Okay, now we're going on to the next level, which these are a little different. Sure there. So anyway, I'm gonna go the way I think they're going. I'm gonna put the kind of brassier looking one on top. So again, slip this into its spot and then just kind of pry them apart and work your way down into place. So once you get it into place, just line it up. Again, like I said, you want to keep your lines where they're not in the same place. So I'm actually going to stick this one around here, and then I'm going to put the top one again a quarter of the way off. So again, starting it, pry it out, pop it into place. So again, just space your rings. So there we go. That's all there is to it. Pretty straightforward. Now, a couple different ways to do this. I'm actually going to put one side of my connecting rod spring or clip in on one side. Shove the piston down, shove it through, put the other side on. Again, these things are kind of a pain in the ass. Honestly, they are a pain in the ass to put on at times, especially some of these smaller ones. So, but there's not a lot to them. The good news is this did come with new ones. So the other thing, make sure you guys, when you're doing this, you want to use some lube, some grease or some sort of engine lube. Makes it a lot easier, and it actually keeps, or you don't have the chance when you fire this up to get hot and not having oil something before you get it going. So I like to stick these in basically, and I probably showed this in other videos, like on the Sportsters or different things, but try to keep your end right here where it's as close as possible to this little gap. So when it comes time, if you ever decide, or whoever might work on this motor in the future, they can actually get their little pick in there and pop these out. Otherwise, if you get this around here and it's in like this, it's a pain in the ass. So press it down into its place and just you can use a little screwdriver somewhere. I've got one around here. Use a little screwdriver and just kind of bend it down and drop it into its place. Again, like I said, this is a little bit of a pain in the butt. And you do have to be kind of careful. They will spring out and hit you in the face or different places. But again, like I said, I like to adjust it to where basically that clip piece right there is just past the other side. I don't know how well you guys can see that, but basically just stick that to where it's close, so where you can get a pick underneath it and pop it out. So like I said, if you flip that all the way around, whoever has to work on it next, it's kind of a pain. So I like to set it right in there. Gives you a little bit, makes it a little easier anyway to get it out for the next guy. So that side's done. So this is one of the gaskets that came off the block. I got a new one here. I'll go ahead and press it into place before I forget it. It just goes in there. So again, I use it's motor assembly grease. And I use it basically on everything. It's mixed up. It's a little bit runny right now. So basically what I'm going to do, make sure I get the new one. Squeeze just a little bit out here and put it on the connecting rod. So again, big thing, make sure these haven't moved on you, but you still got them out. So, like that. That's good. Set the piston down in here, slide it into place. You kind of feel or tell when you're in line there. Go. And everything up here. What would be a pain in the butt? There we go. And press it all the way in. Again, you can use a screwdriver. Shove that all the way over to the other side. And there you go. So piston's on now. Next step, again, putting in your little spring. Slide some stuff out of the way for a second. And again, this is the part where you kind of got to watch it. They will, if you don't get them in right, they will shoot across the room. That same process. Bend it up in there. Once you get it, get it started, and then you can use your screwdriver here to pop it in place. So basically just like that. Again, adjust them back just a little bit. Same place as the other side. Make sure both sides are seated well, and your piston is now in place. So the next thing we're going to do is put the cylinder on. I'm going to check out the cylinder, make sure I'm not missing any seals. Because you guys can see here, these are some of the places where these seals, different things go into place on these. So everything on this one looks good. I think the only other gasket will be on the top side. Okay, so basically what I'm doing now is making sure I've got all my gaskets in place, they're right sizes. I'm not super crazy about this one, to be honest, but we're going to use it. There's another little gasket here that goes under this stud. Goes into place right there. I'm going to put just a touch of grease place. The other thing I am going to do is put a little bit of grease in here on the lower side. Just where the cylinder will hopefully slide in and out fairly easy. Okay, so now just turn this here, make sure everything's in line, and start it down. Again, the one thing I didn't show off on camera, just make sure all your studs are in place. These actually do pull in and out, so make sure you get those back in there. There's also 2 on the other side down there on the bottom. You can see previously in the video. So make sure you get those on. Again, all these rubber rings that I'm pulling out, get those in place. Studs are sitting on it. So now we're going to go ahead and start the rings inside here. Again, this is where and I mean, you can do these with a compression tool, or you can do them the way I'm doing. Basically, I just slip them in, squeeze them, and then press the cylinder down against them. And honestly, it's a little easier with the second set of hands, but you can definitely do it by yourself. All the glass set here to get in. And so now basically just shove the cylinder. Shove the piston up in there. Exactly. Something don't ain't quite lining up, I don't think, but we'll see. I'm going to pull this back off. Okay. So pull the timing chain through. Pull it all the way through at the front here. That'll hold it. We should be able to slide the cylinder down, like so. And we're going to pull the studs. So, and kind of running this to make sure the piston goes good. So, run the piston one up. Okay. So, cylinder's on. Again, we'll put that down in place. Hold it right there, and we'll be ready to put the head on here in just a second. So basically I'm putting these studs back into place here, like so. Make sure all my rings are in the right places. Chains out of the way. So cut back here in just a second. We'll pick up some of these parts I don't need and get the head ready to put on. Guys, got the head here. Basically, I'm keeping all my extra gaskets in here for right now. Got all the original parts of the head over here, which some of this I'll have to reuse. I mean, as you guys can tell, these heads are a little different. Looks like I'm gonna have to steal the studs out of here for the exhaust, and then have this little breather, crank breather. So some of that stuff will be a little bit different, but for the most part, they're basically identical. So one thing I was going to look at while I've got everything here before I put it together, is looking at some of these covers. think for the most part these are all the same, but some of these different motors, they'll come with like chrome valve adjustment covers, tappet covers, whatever you want to call them. This particular one does not, so it's not that big a deal. I'm going to go ahead here and loosen up. Oops. Loosen up the bolt here. It goes all the way through. Again, there's not, I mean, these motors are pretty basic, not a whole lot going on. Hardest part is going to be getting the timing, which I'll show you guys how to do that after I get it all put together here. So this gasket actually is already on it. I'll have to pull it back loose, straighten it up, but for the most part it's pretty straightforward. And I don't know if these valves and this timing and all this stuff, the timing gear and stuff is actually I'm guessing, not 100% sure what this is all set at. I may have to adjust all these. I don't know if they come pre-adjusted or not. Try to keep all the new stuff in this box separated from the old. And we'll go ahead and pull the timing gear off the top here. It's actually super loose to begin with, so that's what's making me think probably, and maybe they just didn't tighten this down because you have to pull all this loose anyway. So maybe that's the reasoning behind it. One thing I do have to do is put that timing guide, chain guide, in this cylinder too here in just a second before I put all this together. But so again, put all that in there. So we'll kind of see what everything's set at here in a second when I get this all put together. But you got a timing mark here, so that's your timing. You can see that T on it. So when you put this all back together, this will actually go just like that with your timing mark. You'll end it up with the notch here in the top of it. That's how you tell where your timing's at. You'll do the same thing down on the bottom whenever we get to that point. Anyway, I want to get this kind of set up and ready to go. So I'm gonna go ahead and hop over here to the other side and get my timing chain guide thrown in here real quick. So basically this just goes back in between your chains. So and you're gonna slip it into place. May have to pull the cylinder back loose just a ways, get my finger behind it. Up there, and tighten it down. Again, not a whole lot to that, but and again, make sure these little O-rings. The one I think it's kind of hard to see. Yeah, that one's still in there, but I think the front one fell off, so make sure those all stay in place. And slide this back in. There we go. So there. Again, just make sure these O-rings stay in place. We're gonna go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and put the head gasket on. started here. Honestly should go right around that ring there. And there we go. There's some studs down there we're supposed to be. Okay. So got all that on. I'm gonna go ahead and insert this bolt as well. 10mm here. On the side of the motor. And just snug it up. Don't tighten these down yet. You're gonna wanna torque everything. So basically all I'm doing is just snugging that up. And that'll actually keep that motor from moving on you. So the next step, I'm gonna reach across here to get your head. And we're gonna go ahead and slip it into place. Again, grab the timing chain, and a pick works really, really well too on this. You can kind of feed it through. Or piece of wire on this one. Not a whole lot to this one, so we're just going to use a pick and kind of pull it up over the top. So there we go. Let it kind of hang out there. Okay, make sure again all your gaskets are in place. No O-rings have fallen out. Throw the timing chain out. So we'll do that again. So just slide it down just a little further. Sure what's sitting on there. Oh. So in here on these sides, there's these little threaded pieces that your rocker arms roll on. That's actually what it's sitting on, so I'll slide those back down. Okay, we should be good now. So all my gaskets have stayed in place. Everything looks good. Timing chain up and through. There we go. Okay. Again, making sure that gasket goes down right. My timing chain is wanting to fall. Again. Definitely don't want to happen. So there we go. All right, so now everything is in place. I'm actually just going to slip my pick up through that. Keep that from moving. We'll go ahead and get a couple of these side bolts. So basically these are the two bolts I was telling you about. Just, snug them up just to there or so. You can actually go ahead and tighten down. This is the bolt here. That's actually your timing chain guide. Again, what I was talking about, here's your chain. So a lot of times I'll just take my hook and kind of prop it up through it like so, and use it to kind of hang just so it doesn't go anywhere. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and put the top cover here, oops, in place. just right. There we go. Just like so. There's an arrow on this, tells you which way's up. Just a little bit. May have an issue. Let's see. Maybe not. We'll see if I can get all these started here. I may not. A little bit concerned now. I may have to get longer stud bolts. Which sucks. Let's see what I can do here. This might work after I get everything kind of compressed. We'll see. I'm not real fond of these being this short, but again, they can't go that far into it anyway. So this might actually work. I'm not getting too crazy with them because, again, this all has to be torqued down to certain specs. So it looks like it's going to work though. Once you get all this compressed, where your gaskets are in here, everything tightened up, I think they'll be all right. I'm gonna go ahead and back this off, see how far it pulled. So you can see how far it pulled the threads. Again, you don't have a whole lot in these castle nuts to begin with. So I think by the time I get everything torqued, I think we'll be okay. All right, so I got online, found the torque specs. I believe they're like 97 inch-pounds, somewhere in that neighborhood. So that's what I'm gonna go with. Again, I'll post a link or post maybe some photos of the torque specs. I think the torque specs are actually off a Honda, but these Chinese bikes are really, really close. So I'm gonna go with that and go from there. So go ahead and get these torqued down here. And again, it's 97 inch-pounds. So I'm gonna start probably with like, I'm gonna go with, let's go with about 40. This is where I'm gonna start out here. Set all these at 40 inch-pounds and work your way around. So I'm gonna go up to about 70. It's about, yeah, it's pretty close to 70 there. So. All right, now I'm gonna go all the way up to 95. Actually, I'm gonna go, yeah, we'll do 95 first. So I ended up getting, actually stripped out one of the castle nuts up here on the top. So I'm gonna have to get another one for that. I ended up backing the torque specs down. I think I ended up at about 85 or so, but that's not the major issue. The bigger issue is once I got everything put together here, started to get ready to start the timing, and I wasn't thinking this through, but by putting the bigger cylinder in it, it's also a touch taller. So what ended up happening now, my timing chain's not long enough the way it is. So I'm gonna pull this cover off. Sometimes there's some timing adjustment underneath there. I honestly don't think there's gonna be enough on this one, but I'm gonna pull this cover off. Most likely it's looking like I'm gonna have to pull everything apart and run a new timing chain. So yeah, we'll go from there. All right, so I'm not gonna end up getting this bike done today. A little bit frustrated, but it is what it is. So after I got everything put together and I started to work on the timing, you guys can notice how far off that is. The issue that I'm running into, and I didn't think about it whenever I ordered all the parts. I wish I'd ordered a damn timing chain, but I didn't. So we'll have to get one coming, and hopefully I can get it sooner than later, but we'll see. So basically, putting in the bigger cylinder here, it is quite a bit wider than the original one. I don't know how well that's picking up on camera, but yeah, it's a good, probably 1/4 inch. So you do both, chain's gotta go, it ends up being about a 1/2 inch off. So again, that's one thing I noticed up here on the studs. I may get online, see if I can get the studs for it as well. We'll see. I think I can thread them out maybe, but they did tighten up. I've just got one here on the bottom that I actually stripped the castle nut out when I started tightening it. So probably need to get the longer studs to do it right, and go ahead and get the timing chain as well. So I thought maybe I'd get lucky and be able to pull the timing chain tensioner out of it and give me a little more. Did give me a little bit more slack, but with it in, it's running about there with it in. When I pull it out, it gave me a little bit, not enough to get it on, but still off. So and it's close. That's what's frustrating. A link or two, maybe one link, 2 links, and we're good. But it's all right. I'll get that stuff coming. Then I'll do a video on how to pull your magneto off, or flywheel, whatever you want to call it. They're kind of a pain. There's actually an actual puller that'll go down on there and presses that in and pulls it off. When you pull this off, it's threaded. If I remember right, I think on all Hondas are basically the same thing. You pull this nut off here, and your actual flywheel is threaded. You'll thread down into it. It's got a bolt that goes against it on the top. It'll pop right off. I may try to pull this one like it is. We'll see. Typically, they do not come off easy. So, but yeah, I thought I'd give an update. That's where I'm at. So I'll get a timing chain coming. Pull all this off. Underneath here, you can pull that plate out, and it allows you access to the timing chain and your timing chain tensioner and oil pump, all that stuff. So yeah, we'll go from there. I'll probably go ahead and put the timing chain tensioner back up inside it, sand the bike up, move it out of the way until I get parts, because it's probably going to be a little while before I get that stuff in, just the way things are being shipped. Again, a little frustrating. I was really wanting to have this bike running and put it up for sale sooner than this, but it is what it is. So just wanted to give a quick update on where I ended up with this video. So but yeah, So anyway, anybody has any questions, feel free to ask. I love it if you guys hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, share my videos. Again, really trying to push my subscribers, the number I have. So yeah, we'll be back on this hopefully here before too long. Thanks again for watching.